So we'll need 2 yoga blocks, as well as a yoga strap. And the first pose we do is going to involve laying on the back and making use of our props. So we'll start off by bending the knees, place the feet on the floor, and just take a few moments to get comfortable here. Become aware of the feeling of your spine resting on the floor, and try to open your chest. So this might create a little bit of an arch in the spine. That's great. It's like a gentle back bend. And then bring the arms out to the sides, setting up for windshield wipers. So palms are on the floor, arms could be bent or straight. And then taking the feet as wide as the mat, take a long inhale, expanding into the belly and ribs. Long exhale, both knees over to the left. Inhale across the center. Exhale, both knees to the right. See if you can feel the core contracting with the exhale. And then inhale, center. Try to keep some of that core strength. Exhale to the left side. Explore lifting the right hip. And then continue going side to side at your own pace. Try to create short pauses in the end of each movement. And next time the knees go to the right, we'll hold the position. Bring the right ankle to the outside of the left thigh, above the knee. And then as you gently press the ankle against the outside of that left thigh, explore lifting the right knee a little higher and then lowering it towards the floor. And just keep on going dynamically, so you can use this to massage the right hip. You might also feel a nice stretch moving through the left hip. One more breath. Long inhale, come back to center. Take the feet hip width again. Exhale, knees to the left side. Bring the left ankle to the outside of that right thigh. And then use the ankle to press the right thigh down gently. From there, lift and lower your left knee, massaging the left hip. And try to draw the breath laterally through the ribs, the belly, and all the way up to the chest. One more breath. And then slowly come back to center. Windshield wiper the legs side to side again, feet as wide as the mat. But go about double speed. So you don't have to move with your breath, just move the body side to side, whatever way feels good. And then coming back to center, draw your knees in towards your shoulders. And then try relaxing your belly to press the sacrum into the floor. So that's the triangular bone at the back of the pant line, just above the buttocks. And then draw the knees away from each other. You might feel more of a stretch along the inner thighs, maybe even in the back of the legs. And then slowly bring the knees together in the middle. And make some circles like that, drawing the knees apart and together. And then try to keep the sacrum down as you continue doing that movement. Notice the abdominal core contracting. So it's contracting as it lengthens. And then hug the right knee towards the shoulder. Slowly straighten the left leg onto the floor. And we'll give that right knee a big squeeze. Take a few breaths. Half happy baby. Bend both knees, resting the left foot on the floor near the buttocks. And then bring the right ankle up to the sky. So you're opening the knee joint a little closer to 100 degrees or so. And this is where you could start using the yoga props. So you can take a strap around the ball of your right foot and then hold it loosely with your right hand. From there, keep the knee bent about 100 degrees or so, and then pull back with that right arm. You can even use your left arm. Think of drawing the knee out to the right, outside the rib cage or armpit, wherever it lands. So you might feel a really nice stretch in the back of the leg already. And then make a very modest effort to try and straighten the leg, even though it's not possible here. So super gentle effort. And keep pulling back on the strap. Take about 3 more breaths. If you are quite flexible, feel free to hold the foot with both hands instead. And there's also the option to lift the head off the floor, engaging the abdominals. Tuck the chin as you lift the shoulder blades off the ground. 2 more breaths. Totally optional. Feel free to keep the head down. And inhale, rest the head down. Exhale, let go of the right leg. And we'll switch. Draw the left knee to the shoulder. I'm getting the added benefit of a diaphragm massage right now for my cat. So I recommend you get one. It's a great prop to have around the house. Squeeze your left knee to your shoulder, and then try straightening that right leg onto the ground. Hey, little buddy. And as you hold this pose, you can also incorporate a little bit of lateral flexion in the spine. So that means contracting the left side of the abs, left side of the core, to create more length up the right side of the body. One more breath. And then bend both knees, resting the right foot on the floor next to your hip. And we'll open up that left knee joint for half happy baby. So knee bent roughly 90 degrees, maybe more, towards 120. And you can take a strap around the ball of your foot or hold it with one or both hands if you can reach. Very gently pull back, draw the knee out to the left towards the armpit. So there's a little bit of external rotation in the hip as well. And once you're pretty comfortable in the pose, introduce a little counter movement of attempting to straighten the leg, pushing the ball of the foot up into the strap. Super gentle does it. We're looking for a nice stretch in the back of that left thigh. Another option is holding the foot and lifting the shoulder blades off the floor. 3 more breaths, engaging the abdominal core. One more breath. And with an inhale, relax the head down. Exhale, both legs to happy baby. Catch hold of the feet or shins, whatever you can reach. And then dynamically draw one knee closer to the floor and then the other. Gently rocking the body side to side. Just like a happy baby. And then resting the feet on the floor, bend your knees. Take a strap around the ball of the right foot, but hold it a little bit looser this time so you can totally straighten that right leg. Now start by flexing your toes towards your shin. Gently pull back on the strap while keeping your leg as straight as you can comfortably. And we'll take about 5 breaths, emphasizing the stretch in the back of the calf. Contract in the front of the thigh. A few more breaths. On your next exhale, hold the strap with the right hand. Open the leg out to the right. Inhale back to the center. And repeat 5 times. Exhale to the right. Your other knee can press out to the left as a counterbalance. Inhale, center. Moving from the muscles around the hips. A few more to go. If you are really flexible, you could do this with your left leg straight on the mat the whole time. You'll have to use the core a little bit more to keep that left buttock rooted down. Let's do one more round. Keeping the left buttock rooted, right leg out to the side and hold. Gently pull back on the strap. If you are quite flexible, feel free to take hold of the right big toe as an alternative. Gripping the fingers with the big toe. One more breath. Inhale back to the center, holding the big toe or the strap. Point the foot, and then use your left hand to hold the back of the skull. On an exhale breath, engage your core, tuck your chin, and bow forward for 3 breaths. Point the foot. And then use the strength of the leg, pressing the leg away from the belly, contracting the back of the thigh gently. One more breath. And with an inhale, relax the head down. And exhale, remove the strap, lowering the right foot. Bend the right knee. Left leg up, we'll switch sides. Take the strap around the ball of the foot. And we'll start off in the center, resting the head on the floor. Flex the left toes towards the shin. And focus on the length in the back of the calf. The front of the thigh contracts to help keep the legs straight. So you might feel a bit of stretch in the hamstring, but you don't have to. Just notice what there is to notice there. Explore spreading the left toes wide, creating a broad base of support across the foot. And that really carries into how we do other activities like walking, running, yoga poses. One more long breath. Left hand holding the strap, take a breath in. On your next exhale, open to the left, bent knee off to the right. And continue 5 times. Inhale, center. And exhale, opening out to that left side. Use your other leg as a counterbalance. If you're quite flexible, you can keep the right leg straight. Gently pull back as you open to the left. Attempting to keep the right buttock rooted the whole time. So it's going to demand a bit more stability from the core as well as the hip joint. And then we'll open up to that left side and hold the pose. 5 breaths. One more breath. On the inhale, come back to center. And then point the foot, holding the strap or grip the big toe. Right hand at the back of the head. And then exhale, engage the core, tuck the chin, and bow. 3 breaths. Try to lift the shoulder blades off the floor. Point your foot, engaging the back of the left thigh. So now we're activating the hamstrings at that full range of motion. Inhale, slowly come down. And exhale, remove the strap, lower the foot. Bring the right leg up again, looping around the ball of the foot. Hold both ends of the strap loosely in your right hand, and we'll do this one a bit more dynamically. So on the exhale, pull back to the right side, and as you inhale, come across the center, halfway over to the left side. Exhale to the right, and inhale across center. And continue exploring. Left leg can be bent or straight. Think of making some big circles in that right leg. So as you go to the right, you might feel a stretch in the hamstring. Maybe you're feeling it on the adductor muscles, the inner thigh muscles. As you go over to the left side, you might feel more of a stretch in the outside of the hip. So it's really, this movement is really helpful for other hip openers like pigeon position and developing a lotus pose to sit comfortably on the floor. And then holding that strap with the left hand, bring your leg way over to the left side. Press the back of that left arm to the floor. Your actual leg could be hovering up, and then twist, turning your chest out to the right. You can give yourself really nice hands-on adjustment using your right hand on the top of that right thigh bone near the hip joint. So you try to push the thigh away from the belly while continuing to gently pull back on the strap. And this can create more of a stretch around the outside of that right hip in the buttock area, as well as through the lower back, even the side of the belly. As you're breathing there, try to spread the right toes. You might even try pushing out through the ball of the foot to create a little bit of resistance against the pull of the arm. And 3 more breaths. And then letting go of the stretch, bend the knee. Come back to the center and bring the left leg up. Strap around the ball of the left foot. And you can start with your right leg bent. This just gives you a bit more freedom to keep that left leg straight while still honoring the natural curves of the spine, like the lumbar curving off the floor and the back of the neck curving off the floor. And then we'll make some big circles, going out to the left and over to the right. And if you're a little bit looser, try straightening both legs, right heel on the floor. Big circles in that left leg. And if you take the power and the flow classes where we have lots of standing postures, this is basically like doing a lot of the straight-legged positions, but on your back. Triangle pose, the revolved triangle. You even get elements of the wide-legged fold in one leg. Big circles. And then taking the strap with the right hand, bring that leg over to the right, pressing the back of the right arm, the humerus, into the floor. And as you continue pulling back on the strap, use your free hand to press the left thigh away from the belly. So it's a slight movement of outward rotation in the hip joint, but we're still pulling back on the strap, drawing the leg up into hip flexion. And then different ways to create resistance and wake up the pose. You can keep pulling back with your right arm while pushing out through the ball of the foot. You can also try drawing the left buttock back towards the floor where it came from. Any of these actions will help bring a stretch more into the left hip, as well as the left side of the belly, ribs, low back. A few more deep breaths. And then bending the knee, let go of the stretch, and slowly come back to center. We'll set the strap aside. Come into windshield wipers. Arms out to the sides, center your hips, and then go side to side. It's moving dynamically at your own pace. Come back to center, keeping the knees bent, and then lift the hips up and bring the pelvis towards the right side of your mat. And then lift that right ankle and wrap the right leg around the outside of the left leg. Reclined spinal twist. On an exhale, slowly bring your legs towards the left. The knees can stay off the floor. And then twist, looking over your right shoulder. There's also the option of giving yourself a little adjustment. Using your left hand, you can take hold of that right thigh and gently pull it down towards the floor. And take some deep breath, expanding the right side of the belly, right ribs, even the chest. And then to direct the breath into that right side of the spine, the trick is to contract the core on the opposite side. This will carry through pretty much any yoga pose that's asymmetrical. So contract the left side of the core a little bit more, create length along the right side of the body. One more long breath. Full exhalation. Inhale back to center, letting go of the twist. Exhale, set up the other side. Move your pelvis over to the left edge of the mat, and then lift your left ankle and bring it outside the right thigh. Take a long breath in, and exhale both knees towards the right. From there, you can turn the head, looking over the left shoulder, or keep the head neutral, your choice. Then use your right hand to gently pull down on the leg. At the same time, try intending the left buttock back towards where it came from. And breathe. So you might be lengthening the left side of the body here by contracting more through the right side of the core. Another way of approaching it, if you have scoliosis like I do, so in my case with scoliosis, my left side is already lengthened all the time in everyday life, in every pose, so I actually contracted on this side as well. So if you have scoliosis and this is your long side, you might be contracting both sides of the core instead. A few more deep breaths. And slowly come back to center, releasing the pose. Spread the arms, center the hips on the mat. And windshield wiper the legs side to side again. And then coming back to center, keep the feet on the floor just in front of the sitting bones, feet about hip width, and then bring your hands next to your feet. On a long inhale breath, lift the arms over the head and towards the back of the mat. Try to keep your elbows straight. Exhale, lift the hips up. Inhale, slowly bring the arms down. Exhale, vertebra by vertebra, lower your spine. Round 2. Inhale, lift the arms. Resist gravity by slowing the movement. Exhale, lift the hips. Inhale, slowly bring the arms down. And exhale, slowly lower your spine. And a few more. Inhale, lifting the arms overhead. Short pause at the end of the movement. Long exhale, scooping the tailbone under, lift the hips up. Inhale, slowly lower the arms down, so hands next to the feet again. And exhale, lowering through the spine. Last one. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale, lift the hips. Inhale, lower the arms, but keep the hips up. We're going to hold this pose 5 breaths. Try wiggling your arms a little bit closer to each other behind the back and contract between the shoulder blades. Deep breathing. As the hips lift up, try to keep your legs parallel, making a gentle effort to squeeze the center line. Long exhale, come all the way down onto your back. And then rolling to the left, slowly help yourself up. Take a comfortable sitting position. So simple cross-legging. And then hands over the knees. Make some big circles with the spine. You can lean back, lean over one knee, and then to the other. It's also really nice to use your hands to sort of lean your torso away from the knee, getting more of a lateral stretch through the side of the body. And there's really a lot going on in this simple movement. And try changing directions as well. And then sitting up tall, bring the hands a few inches behind you. You could have your fingers aiming out to the sides for this one. And then we'll bend the knees, doing the seated version of windshield wipers. So nice and slow, feet wide apart. Try to keep your chest up the whole time. So we're really puffing up the heart. And then exhale, knees to one side. Inhale across the center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale across center. And keep on going. And what happens pretty much all the time is that your feet end up going further and further away from you. So every so often, readjust, bring the feet closer to the pelvis. Also explore taking the feet a little bit wider apart every so often. And then next time the knees go over to the left, we'll pause there. Gently engage the right buttock, lifting the hip and heart together. Puff up the chest. And then lean over a little bit more into that left hand. So the left hand is just behind you on the floor. With an inhale, reach the right arm up by the ear, lift the hips, bearing weight through the left arm. With the exhale, sit back, reaching with the right hand. Inhale, lift the hips, right arm reaches up. Exhale, slowly sitting back. And continue repeating. Create lots of length through the right side of the spine by contracting the left side of the core, which is also going to help you with the weight-bearing aspect through that left hand. A few more to go. And last one. Exhale, sitting back. And bring that right hand behind you, legs centered. Windshield wipers side to side a few times again. Readjust with the feet wide apart. And as the heart stays lifted, you might find more of a stretch going through the pec. And then both knees to that right side. So you're bearing weight in the right hand. Take a few breaths here. And see if you can find a little more lift in the heart. Start to lean a little bit more over your right arm. Next inhale, left arm up, lift the hips. Exhale, slowly sit back, reaching with the left hand. Inhale, left arm forward, hips lift. Exhale, moving back into sitting, reaching with the left hand. And continue at your own pace. Lateral movement, stretching the left side of the spine, from the hip, through the belly, through the rib, all the while contracting strongly in the right side. 3 more to go. Try to move with your breath. And if you feel comfortable, create short pauses at the end of each movement, even if only for a half second. Last one. Short pause at the top. Exhale, slowly sitting back. And then bring the hands behind you again. So this time you can have your fingers aiming at your pelvis. It'll give you a better viewing angle here. Walk the hands back about 6 to 12 inches. Feet about hip width apart. And then loop the shoulders up and back. Big circular movements, lifting the heart. Retracting the shoulder blades. And then puff up your chest and bring the right ankle over the left thigh. You're going to press the ankle into that thigh and then tend that right leg forwards towards the floor. And we'll hang out here, lifting the chest for a few breaths. And now bring your left foot outside of your right hip. We'll end up in a spinal twist, half Lord of the Fishes. If this is unavailable to you, you can keep the left leg straight and then simply bring the right leg across. Otherwise, left heel by the right buttock. Take an inhale to lift the heart, holding the knee with both hands. Exhale, twist, looking over your right shoulder. Support yourself on the fingertips. And then maybe you take the entire left shoulder outside the leg if there's more room to explore, compressing the belly and thigh into each other. As you're holding the pose, try to press the leg and arm into each other. So you might find a really nice stretch through that right hip. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, find your yoga strap. And then lifting the right foot up, we'll place the strap around the ball of the right foot. I'm going to hold it super loosely. And then as you lift the heart, see how much you can straighten that right leg. You might shorten the strap a little bit by walking the hands closer to the foot, but try to keep the legs straight. And we'll hold the pose about 5 deep breaths. And you have different options. You might be working at stretching more into the calf, straightening the leg. or you might be playing with pointing the foot or even pushing out through the ball of the foot to really strengthen around the arch a bit more. And try to keep the heart lifted. And then slowly let go, setting that right foot down, bend the knee, and then bring your hands forward. So we're squatting into that right foot. Looks something like this. So right foot on the floor, reach forward with your hands. And now as you push into your hands, load up into your right heel, lift your hips up. And then slowly bring your left shin to the floor again, sitting back on the heel. Lean over your hands, push into them to lift your hips up, and repeat, slowly sitting back. We'll do about 5 more of those. Seemingly simple movement, but if we really focus on 2 things, one of them loading up through the heel, the other one leaning over the hands, we have 2 different benefits that are happening. One of them is that we're training single leg squat strength and mobility. The other is that this is actually an arm balance. You're doing some weight bearing, similar to plank pose and other intermediate movements like crow pose. 2 more to go. Good, last one. So really slow it down. And then bring the left hand off to the side. And we'll bring the legs out in front. Take a moment to shake your wrists out. And then make some little circles in the wrists. And we'll do it all again on the other side. So with your hands about 6 to 12 inches behind you, lean back a little bit, loop your shoulders up and back, lifting the heart. And then lift that left ankle, place it over the right thigh next to the knee. So this is a variation of pigeon pose. We're intending that left thigh bone forward towards the floor while lifting the heart up. We'll hold for about 5 deep breaths. Think of your ears going back over the shoulders, which encourages the heart to lift up. In other words, thoracic extension. Big, proud chest. One more breath. And then half lower to the fishes. So we'll bring the left ankle off to the right side, right heel outside the hip. That left leg is on top. If you need to modify, you could have your right leg straight. And then holding that left knee, take an inhale to pull back, lifting the heart up. Exhale, twist to the left side. Left finger's working for support. Your right hand could be holding the outside of the thigh, or you might try drawing the thigh bone into the belly a bit more. Lean into it to bring the entire shoulder outside of the leg. All the while we're turning the left chest open and then pressing the arm and leg into each other to aim that left sitting bone towards the floor. And it's not really about what it looks like, it's more about creating these opposing movements, moving some energy in the body and trying to feel it out internally. So this might be a really nice continuation of the other hip stretches we've done today. A few more breaths. And then come back to the center. Find your strap, and we'll loop it around the ball of the left foot. Leaning back about 45 degrees in the torso. Try to straighten your leg, holding the strap loosely, and then puff up your chest again, really lifting the heart. And we'll hold the pose about 5 slow breaths. Try to straighten the leg. If your calves are feeling tight today, work the dorsiflexion of the ankle, flexing the toes towards the shin. If you're working more on stability around the knee or the hip, you can try pushing out through the ball of the foot and spreading the toes wide. Also a great way to strengthen the arch. And one more breath. And then setting the strap aside, we'll bend the left leg. So left leg bending like a squatting position. Reach your left arm inside the leg as you come forward. Take the hands to the floor about shoulder width. And then as you push into your hands and heel, slowly lift the hips up. And then slowly point the right foot, returning the shin to the floor. And repeat, slowly coming up, loading off that left heel. And slowly sit back. And there's always ways to make this harder. There's always progressions. So as you come up tall, you might explore lifting the right foot for a moment. And then point the foot, lower the shin, and sit back. And you're just going to your own comfortable degree. If you have difficulty bending the knees, you might not go down very far at all. That's fine. Just get more benefit in the shoulders that way too. A few more to go. And last one, so lift the hips up and then bring your right foot behind your right hand. So now we're in a full squatting position. Have the feet slightly turned out, about hip width or wider. And as you walk the hands forward, see how much you can comfortably bend both knees, keeping the heels on the floor. And we'll take a few breaths there. If you are really comfortable sitting in the low squat, try lifting the hips a little bit further away from the floor, just to keep it interesting. I've been told it's a great way to recruit the pelvic floor as well, just getting a little bit further out of the squat. Very good. Now slowly lift your hips up. Coming into ragdoll position, hold on to opposite elbows, and I welcome you to walk the feet even further apart. 3 feet, 4 feet, even wider than that if that's comfortable. And we'll do a few different variations. For this first one, try to straighten your legs and very gently sway the torso from one leg to the other. And then bring the hands to the floor, bend your knees, and turn the feet away from each other. Now as you bend your right leg, move your torso towards that right foot, and switch. Walk over towards that left leg, bending it, right leg can straighten. And continue. If you can take the feet a little bit further apart, go for it. This will allow you to sit a little bit lower into your squat. And explore. If you find that the heel has to come up, that's okay. You're just getting more of a toe and arch stretch. But try it both ways. Try to keep your heel on the ground as well, which will result in more glute activation to help support the hip joint. Let's come back to the center and then lift and spread your left toes. Pivot out over the heel. You're moving from the hip joint as you do that. So lift the toes away from the floor, pivot out over the heel, and then bend the knee. We're going to hold this one. Knee might be over the ankle, or you might keep on going. Lift the ball of the right foot off the floor, contracting the front of the thigh. And breathe. Keep contracting the buttocks together. pressing the thighs away from each other. So we're abducting the hips and externally rotating them. And then come across the center again. Do the same with the right leg. So spread the toes and lift them, engaging the front of the shin. Pivot out over the heel, but the movement comes from the femur in the hip socket. So we'll turn out at that right hip and then bend the right leg. Allow the ball of your other foot to come up, aiming toes to sky, and sit back as far as you're comfortable. I just accidentally sat down on some blocks, but that's actually a great way to hold the pose if you need some extra support. Otherwise, you can use your glute strength to hold it along with your hands. Engaging the buttocks, keep intending that bent knee out to the little toe, pressing the knee back. And then very slowly come forwards. Walk the feet in a little bit closer. And then with the hands on the floor, we'll take the hands about a foot in front of us, shoulder width. And then as you bend your elbows, squeeze them in towards each other. Rock onto your tiptoes. And then as you lower the heels, give rest to the arms. As you lean forward, shoulders over wrist, heels can lift a little. And then lean back, repeating that 3 times. This is some very simple but effective weight bearing. Leaning forward, lifting heels, and then lowering the heels, put the weight in the legs. 2 more to go. You might feel a really nice stretch or strengthening happening through the sole of the feet. Last one. And then bring the knees to the floor. And we'll move into child's pose. So you can have your legs together, sit back onto the heels, resting the head to the floor. If that's uncomfortable for your knees, you can instead do rabbit's pose, where the pelvis stays over the knee. And instead we bring the forearms to the floor to take a little bit of the weight, and then rest the head down. Think about rounding your spine, dropping the tailbone, lengthening and relaxing the back of the spine. Inhale, slowly come up. Sit back into a toe squat, toes tucked under again. We'll sit all the way back onto the heels this time. And then spreading the arms out, make some circles in the wrist joints. And if this is too much for your knees, feel free to go into the camel pose instead, making these same movements in the wrist and the same movement in the foot and ankle. Good. And then bring hands to the floor. So legs are about hip width or so, table position. With an inhale, bring the right arm straight ahead, left leg straight back. Exhale, elbow towards knee. Inhale, go out to the side with the arm and the leg. Abduction. Exhale, elbow, knee. And we'll do 2 more of each. Inhale, straight ahead, straight back. Exhale, elbow, knee. Engaging from the buttocks, out to the sides on the inhale. Exhale, elbow, knee. Inhale, straight ahead, straight back. Exhale, elbow, knee. Last one. Inhale, out to the sides. Exhale, elbow, knee. And then come back to table, lowering the knee and hand. Left arm forward, right leg back on the inhale. Exhale, elbow, knee. Inhale, out to the sides with the shoulder and the hip. Exhale, elbow, knee. 2 more of each. Inhale, moving into the bird dog, leg back. Exhale, elbow, knee. Inhale, abduction. Exhale, elbow, knee. 1 more of each. Try to find those short pauses at the ends of the movements. That's where you can really be in your power. Last one, out to the side. Elbow, knee. And come back to table. So we'll bring the big toes to touch. Take the knees a little bit wider, about as wide as the mat. And then planting your left hand, inhale, right arm out to the side, opening the chest. Exhale, thread the needle, bending into your left arm, reach way through. Inhale, right arm up to the sky, open chest. Exhale, thread the needle, reaching. And continue to move with your breath. As you're reaching up, you could be retracting the shoulder blades, but strongly push into the knuckles of your left hand. So it's just like a side plank, but modified, allowing us to really move into that full range of motion with control. On the next exhale, thread the needle, reaching your right arm under the left, way, way, way out to the left side, and then press the back of the right hand into the floor. You can stay on your left fingers for support. It's also the option to reach forward to get more of a lateral stretch. Or one of my personal favorites, taking the hand behind the back for the half-bound position. Retract the left shoulder blade, protract the right shoulder. One more breath. And with an exhale, bring the left hand down. Inhale, right arm out to the side, open the chest. Exhale, back to the center. Left side inhale, reaching up. And exhale, thread the needle, reaching under. Inhale, opening the left arm, open the chest. Exhale, threading through. And continue, a few more vinyasas, breath-linking movements. Slow movement, slow breath, moment-to-moment awareness. And then we'll thread the needle on the next one. Bending right arm, left arm reaches through. Allow the left shoulder blade to spread out, also known as scapular protraction. And then press the back of the left hand down. Get softer on the right hand, walking the fingertips forward to encourage some length through the right side body, from the armpit through the belly and right hip. Option 2, bound variation. Right arm reaches up and around, catching the back of the shirt or the left hip, and then squeeze the shoulder blade to middle back. Strong in the left side of the core. Long through the right side. Two more slow breaths. And then return that right hand to the floor. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, back to the center. And then place a yoga block on each side of you. I like to have it just a little bit forward of the knees on their highest height. Good. And then we'll either press back to down dog or stay in table pose with the legs parallel. Inhale to bring the right leg up and make some circles with the hip joint, going out to the right, up to the sky, either table or down dog. Change the direction of the rotation 3 more times. Next exhale, step the right foot behind the hand and then fold the left edge of the mat over, patting the knee. Use the yoga blocks under your fingertips and feel free to walk that right foot further forward. As you inhale, bend your knee, track it towards the little toe, and then exhale, reverse the movement, straightening the leg. Inhale, bend the right knee, just like a squat. Exhale, straighten the leg, and then option to fold forward. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, sitting towards the back foot as you straighten the leg. A few more vinyasas at your own pace. Next time the leg straightens, we'll hold the pose. Left toes tucked under, bow towards your right leg. Option to round the spine or keep the heart lifted, your choice. If you're working more on flexibility, it is really helpful to keep the heart lifted and think of drawing your right thigh bone back into the hip socket. Inhale to bend the right knee, just over the ankle. Now as you exhale, tension through the core, slightly reverse the bend of the knee. So we're not really in full squat, we're just reversing a little bit. Left arm by the ear, bend the elbow. Use your free hand to push back on the humerus, the upper arm bone, then hang out in the center, squeezing the legs towards each other. Engage the buttocks to press that left hip forward and pull the right hip back. Option 2 is incorporating lateral flexion of the spine, stretching the left side more by leaning over to the right side. And then release the pose. We'll take the hands down to the yoga blocks. Step back to table or downward dog, your choice. And we'll do the other side. Left leg out to the side, make some circles in that hip joint, abducting, engaging the buttocks to develop the range of motion. 3 more, changing directions. Next exhale, step left foot behind the hand. Right edge of the mat folds over for padding. Blocks in their highest heights. Feel free to walk the left foot further forward from there. And then with an inhale, explore the bend of the front knee. On the exhale, sit back a little, straightening the left leg. As you inhale, bend the knee, track it towards the little toe. And exhale, sit back, straightening the leg, option to fold from there. And continue moving with your breath. If you've learned about the spinal wave, it's a great place to work it in. Think of the head as the last thing to come up on the inhale. And then the last thing to drop in on the exhale. Getting a little bit of movement at every vertebra in the spine. And then next time that left leg straightens, we'll pause in the position. Find a sweet spot, starting with the spine straight. Try to get the legs straight. From there, you might hinge forward at the hip a little bit more, or even round the back if that feels beneficial to you today. Deep, slow breath. Keep the jaw relaxed, eyes relaxed. And then bending that front knee, move into the lunging position again. And then slightly back out of the full squat. So push off the heel, reversing the bend of the knee. Inhale, right arm next to the ear, bend the elbow. And then use your other hand to push back on that upper arm bone. Resist it, gently pushing your arm bone into the hand. Great place to stay, squeezing the buttocks to push that right hip forward. Pull the left hip back. Option 2, add lateral flexion. In other words, side bending, lean over to the left from the heart. You might get a really good sense of the right hip flexor stretching. releasing the psoas in the front of that right hip. And sometimes that release can carry all the way through the lower back, especially as we drop the tailbone, making it really heavy with strong buttocks and strong contracted hamstrings. And then slowly come out of the pose, lower the hands down, and we'll bring the legs out in front, staff pose. So find your straightest possible spine, bringing the hands next to your hips and then back a few inches. Instead of being on the palms, try going onto the fingertips to make the arms a bit longer, and then roll the shoulders up and back a few times. Proud lift of the chest. Now, keeping the heart lifted, walk the hands back a little bit further. Lift the chest as much as you can. Second phase, bend the elbows while keeping the lift of the chest. So it's a very small bend, nothing too dramatic. Keep puffing up the heart. Take a few more breaths here. Engaging between shoulder blades while reaching down through the knuckles of the upper palm. Squeeze the legs together, activate the inner thighs, lift the heart as much as you can. And then engaging the core, exhale to lean forward. And we'll set up for our last pose, supported fish, my favorite. So you can take a yoga block behind you. It's going to be between the shoulder blades. I recommend putting it on its lowest height. Then the second yoga block will be on the next height up at the back of the skull. And this is only one of the many ways of doing it. There's other variations as well. The advantage of this one is that it's going to puff up your chest and encourage your head to stay fairly neutral. So you can come down onto your forearms, doing the same engagements as the last pose, strong between shoulder blades, and then use your hands to adjust the block a little bit, or simply slide your hips forward. Try to get the block just below your neck, supporting the upper back. And then lower the head to the second block. You can use your hands to adjust it. Gently press the back of the skull into the block, slightly tucking the chin for a breath or two. And then bring your arms out to the sides. Feel free to bring your feet apart or bring your knees apart, creating a diamond shape in the legs. And on your next inhalation, lift the arms up to the sky towards the back of the mat. As you exhale, bend the elbows into a W shape. And repeat. Inhale, reaching the arms back. Lift the shoulder blades to the ears. Exhale to the W shape. Draw the shoulder blades closer together. And continue exploring. So many potential benefits. Maybe you can feel the breath starting to move more laterally into the sides of the belly and the rib cage. Especially if there's a gentle connection to the abdominals. Maybe you can feel the breath moving from the belly up to the heart. Maybe there's a bit of stretch under the armpits as you reach back, or even through the chest as you bend the arms. And you're welcome to pause at a sweet spot, arms reaching back or resting by your sides, up to you. And then we'll close the eyes and do the relaxation portion in supported fish. If you need to come out at any time, feel free. But if you feel quite comfortable, then try staying here for the next 3 minutes. Feel free to vary up your arm position at any point. And as the body gets more relaxed, allow the belly to relax. Let the jaw relax, face relaxed. And let go of all effort.